Sonic and Mario, or Mario and Sonic following Nintendo's rules, two juggernauts in not only gaming, but marketing and merchandising, and arguably two of, if not the most recognizable video game characters, well, ever. Depending on how you look at it, I'd say both Mario and Sonic are at a very crucial high in both of their histories. Both are coming hot off the release of the biggest racing games in their careers, one launching with the brand new Switch 2, and one providing an experience that can be enjoyed regardless of what platform you're on. Both are coming up on the release or teasing of a new film, Mario approaching his second film in his universe, and Sonic gearing up for his fourth big screen bout with two more full-length films rumored to be in development, and both are on the brink of an inevitable new 3D title in their respective series. Regardless of who you prefer or think is quote-unquote better, you can definitely agree that fans of both sides of the same coin are eating really good. Now, of course, Mario's been at the top of his game for a long time, and while it took Sonic the last 5 years to drop banger after banger, it's nice to see Sonic come flying up on such an established franchise, and in some circumstances even lap the competition with flying colors. Now it sounds like both the fat little Italian one and Blue Hedgehog are in perfect positions right now, but in my opinion, they're both lacking something ingrained in both of them, and they're missing it to various degrees, and that's swag. Now, that might have been the most brutally cringe delivery of a point I've ever tried to convey to date, but just hear me out. Both Mario and Sonic have become multimedia giants, with multiple movies, games, comics, and more. But the issue arises that, at least in my opinion, the shift towards making Mario and Sonic more friendly for advertising has pushed for both of them to be a bit, well, nicer. Looking back 2 decades ago, the general attitude coming from both Mario and Sonic was extremely edgy, loud, and aggressive. While this applies more to the advertising of both, it's still awesome to see how Nintendo and Sega were not afraid to be as brash as possible when it came to promotion for these characters. I mean, dude, they gave Mario a sick-ass tribal tattoo for a limited Game Boy drop. His renders all looked angry, but he meant business and wouldn't let anyone f with him when it came to saving his beautiful babe Peach. But of course, this banned ad for Mario Strikers has to be the biggest example of the brash attitude that was so common, because dude, that's just a nutsack. But this is advertising I live for, and Sonic was barely different. I mean, depicting Sonic as angelic and Shadow as demonic for Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic pissing all over the competition during his dominance in the 90s, and f it, you wanna play our game? Too bad you suck so much ass you can't even play it efficiently. In an era where gaming was nowhere near as big as a form of media as film, sports, or music, Mario and Sonic were quick to establish that these games weren't for babies. These were for real men and women. These advertisements were cocky, aggressive, but most importantly, confident. And unfortunately, I think that's where both Mario and Sonic had lost the plot. Now fast forward to modern day, and this is what we are left with: a cheery little plumber and a dork. Advertising for the two doesn't nearly push the envelope as much, or really at all. What was once an invitation for those who dared has become the SpongeBob roller coaster gif all over. While there isn't concrete evidence of this change or why it even happened, I have a little tiny itty bitty theory that might make it all click. Sonic and Mario are for little babies. Okay, not really, but let's keep it real. The advertising for these games, we aren't the target audience for, which isn't inherently a bad thing. Now, while this is completely subjective, as an ESRB rating isn't the indicator of an intended audience, let's look at everything that isn't the games. Movies, made for families or younger audiences. Shows, okay, Mario hasn't had one in a while, but still, made for the youngins. Merch, this is kind of 50-50, but arguably I see a lot more merch targeted towards the younger generation than people near my age. So it's not that these games themselves aren't made for us, but who they're advertised for isn't for us. I feel like I explained that in such a terrible way, but let me try paraphrase it to make it as simple as I can before I look like an absolute fool. E for everyone means for everyone. Regardless of if you were just born or you're knocking on death's door, there's no age requirement to enjoy these titles. However, the promotion, whether movies, TV shows, or apparel, know who they're trying to reach. Of course, this is somewhat redundant, as gaming has always been for everyone, but these characters are a hit with the younger generation, and I think that comes down to parents of these kids wanting to share these moments that they grew up with their kids. I mean, I remember sitting in front of my parents' TV for hours, passing the controller back and forth with my parents on Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Donkey Kong Country, and hell, those games were tough growing up. But I think how these characters are perceived and advertised lets the younger audience make memories and stories that will live on forever. Now, I don't want this video to seem like I'm dogging on Nintendo and Sega for not taking risks in advertising and designing, but compared to what I had growing up, man, these dudes were so cool. I'm happy to say Sonic, besides his butt-ugly design compared to peak adventure designs, has slowly been regaining his cocky and confident attitude, along with pushing the competitive envelope in advertising for Crossworlds. And while Mario hasn't really had that much of a similar attitude, besides some very specific use cases, the games themselves being being more flashy and experimental in comparison to 20 years ago makes up for the lack of crazy advertising in my opinion. While the advertising itself has shifted away from an edgy nature, I still think both are doing just fine. But I'd still love to see both sides lean more into their roots and of course their competitive nature going against each other. Regardless, it's nice to see Mario and Sonic be somewhat in touch with their roots. You just gotta get that man Mario rapping again and Sonic throwing up gang signs. Anyways, if you think that Mario and Sonic might have lost their swag in another way, let me know in the comments, and hey, if you enjoyed what you saw, drop a like and a sub if you're feeling frisky. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.